The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club. Go Cowboys! This is Talkin Cowboys. Streaming live from the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star in Frisco.
Handoff, Elliott, touchdown, Parsons, touchdown, keeps it, and he makes it into the touchdown.
And now, your hosts, Isaiah Stanback, Patrick Walker, and Kyle Yeomans.
It's another off-season edition of Talking Cowboys presented by Black Rifle Coffee Company, the official coffee of the Dallas Cowboys. We are live from the SWBC studios at the Star in Frisco with Isaiah Stanback. We've got Patrick No-C Walker, Chris Beam in the back. I'm Kyle Yeomans as we continue to giddy up through the Cowboys off-season.
Yeehaw!
Hey, that sounds familiar.
Can we hear that one more time?
Yeah, run that back.
Yeehaw!
Ooh, it's crisp.
Yeah. Oh,
It's
yeah.
crisp.
We got Rodeo Zay in the building. Rodeo Zay in the
Let's get a
building.
Stetson sponsor, huh? How about that? Huh? Let's go.
I am for that.
Yeah, I'll take
I
that.
am for that.
Yes,
I went to Luke Combs at AT&T Stadium the
Yeah,
other
I
day,
saw that.
and it was so good.
That's
I
awesome.
mean, I'm very broad with my music. I just love music in general. I'll
Same.
listen to a little bit of everything.
Same.
Luke Combs and really, I haven't started listening to Luke Combs until the last about a year, and he's really, really good. I went to that concert. He was fantastic. The stadium was gorgeous. It was packed. It was loud. It was energetic. A lot of really, really good show. Lots of fun stuff at AT&T
You
Stadium.
found out why people love Luke so much.
Exactly. Yeah, he was really good.
Yeah.
really good. And I was the reason I say that is because I was sad because I didn't have a cowboy hat to wear.
Should've
I
asked
didn't
me,
have
Kyle.
the Western hat. I'm a born and raised Texan.
Well, where the heck is Stetson at? Don't Stetson.
Born
hey,
and raised
listen up.
Texan.
Do you have boots?
Yeah, I have boots and I wore the boots.
Okay,
Yeah,
so you
yeah.
have the boots. You just didn't
I just didn't have the hat.
I have
didn't-
multiple
I
hats.
couldn't-
Yeah, you were telling us, and your hat's
go Luke Casey,
Yeah,
right?
next.
I do have a Stetson hat, but it was
It's
You
phenomenal.
wore it. You
Yeah.
wore it to the show one day.
Yeah. That was not.
Yeah.
That one was not a Stetson. I do have a Stetson though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that one was not.
The Stetson looks way better.
Yeah.
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 That's
I
what
need to
was
see
told.
this alleged Stetson.
Oh,
That's
it's
nice.
it's nice. Yeah.
Next Tuesday.
He almost wore it for pregame, but we had headsets on.
That's
if
right.
we
Next
we
Tuesday.
would have had it outside, but it wouldn't work.
Stetson, you guys hear that? We're all for it. We're here. We need you.
I think I'm the only one on this show that hasn't worn a cowboy hat because
Yeah, I was wearing it for Victory
Patrick-
Mondays. I was wearing it for Victory Mondays, but that was the Ford branded one. Shouts out to Ford.
Yeah.
But yeah, I need an actual.
I agree.
Because I've been in Texas long enough, and for those that don't know, and I don't know how you couldn't know, I'm a born and bred Georgia boy.
Georgia boy.
But I've been in Texas about half a decade now.
Yeah.
It's time for some boots
You're
and
adopted.
a Stetson.
You're adopted.
Yeah, it's time for some boots and a Stetson.
I agree.
I agree.
I think it's time. All right. Well, now that we've gotten that out of the way, and for those of you who don't know, that was Isaiah in the Yeehaw, and it was from our last episode where we had a lot of fun. So you should go back and listen to that one as well. I also made a joke in that episode that nothing's going to happen between now and then. We're going to have nothing to talk about coming into this Tuesday from a transaction standpoint. I was joking, but nothing has happened in terms of the Cowboys transactionally.
Well, true, but not
But-
entirely true.
That's kind of where I'm leading.
Not entirely true. Okay, so
I've
news
had
and
a
notes.
busy week.
What would Rob do? And we're going to do it like how Rob would do on WrestleMania week. We're coming off the top rope. Coming off the top rope with news and notes. Okay,
Bang.
so can't recall if we mentioned this, but mention it just as a fail-safe. Dante Fowler back in the building on a one-year deal.
Nice.
That's an underrated,
Yes, it is.
and probably underappreciated re-signing by most Cowboys fans. But for those that know Dante Fowler absolutely had a resurgent year.
Oh, yeah.
In his first season, reuniting with Dan Quinn. Obviously, they spent time together with the Atlanta Falcons. That's good. Jerry Jones, speaking from the owners' meetings, the league meetings, I should say, in Phoenix on yesterday being Monday, said that there has been, quote-unquote, progress towards the re-signing of Jonathan Hankins. That will be huge. Pun intended, if they can get Jonathan Hankins back under contract. So good news for the Cowboys fans there. It is in the works. It looks like it could happen. Fingers crossed that it does. Stephen Jones yesterday evening from the same league meetings in Phoenix said that not only do the Cowboys want Hankins, but they want Carlos Watkins as well, another underrated, unheralded guy who did some great things for the Cowboys and Dan Quinn in 2022. So the Cowboys are actively working on both Hankins and Watkins returning to the roster.
Retention.
Yeah, fantastic, because there you go. As far as those who are hoping that the Cowboys shore up that run defense, it begins, for my money, it begins with keeping Jonathan Hankins in the building and then building out from that. Carlos Watkins, as some other guys like Quentin Bohanna to step up, Chauncey Golston, you saw what Osa Odigizua was able to do.
And that's kind of what we talked about in the last show. We talked about Hankins specifically, and what he does so well is allow for the guys around him to play free.
Absolutely.
And Isaiah, you broke it down on Film Room at one point throughout the season. When there are other players, these big nose tackles, these big beefy guys, on the line of scrimmage, they're getting either pushed back or they're staying still. Jonathan Hankins wasn't getting pushed back or standing still. He was moving forward.
In a comparison to that was Dontari Poe.
Yeah.
Right? That was the...
That's what was supposed to be
Exactly.
Hankins in the system before Hankins.
Absolutely, right? So if you Cowboys Nation, if you guys remember Dontari Poe, right, we appreciate his services, but he's on and gone now, okay?
Yeah.
He was going backwards or lateral, okay? You don't want a large human being who's meant to, his sole role is to clog up the holes, okay, and force the offensive players to run around him, or your defensive guys to be able to flow through the lanes without being uninhibited, right? Dontari Poe was getting pushed backwards, okay, and sometimes sideways, okay? So he was causing greater holes for the offensive player. Right. Contrary to that, now all of a sudden you have a big Jonathan Hankins who comes in and obviously comes forward. So now he's literally moving the line of scrimmage in the direction that is advantageous to your defense. That allows not only for two guys and now have to try to stick on one guy. So you're taking two of the five offensive linemen and isolating them to that one player on your defense. But what does that do to your linebackers? Now your linebackers all of a sudden, now they can see clear. I can see clearly now. All right. So now the linebackers can see clearly, okay? It's important. And I always relate it back to the times when Ray, right? You talk about Big Ray Lewis. You talk about some of the greatest linebackers in history had big hosses in front of them, right?
Yes, they did.
They had dudes that were able to clog up those holes and allow for these guys to free flow. Not only can they run through, but they can see clear, right? And they can make moves. They can make their proper adjustments necessary to go out there and go and make a big play for a tackle for a loss or no yardage at all. So
your linebackers would have a clear eye view at that point.
I wasn't going to go there, but yeah.
Let's go ahead and swipe that out of here.
Here. I made that mistake one time. So, I mean, that's important. So, I hope, there goes that H word again, that they can bring big Jonathan Hankins back and then add on to it. Yeah. Because what we saw last year, as impactful as he was in that role, when he was gone due to injury, it was a void.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right? The best case scenario for Dallas is to obviously retain him because you have the sure thing and then try to redo what they rolled the dice on last year. Right? Last year they brought in help me with the name.
On the defensive line?
Yeah. Who they draft?
Who they drafted?
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
You're not talking
Sam
about Big
Williams?
John, are you?
John Ridgeway.
Sorry, y'all, blanked out. Big John Ridgeway. Okay, they tried this last year. Yeah. So let's not say the front office didn't do their job.
And that might have been
they
a guy
tried.
right? They might have gotten rid of him a little bit too soon.
Maybe a little bit too soon. I don't want to say that because their roster was stacked.
They were.
They didn't want to let go of John Ridgeway.
Yeah.
And we spoke about it at the time. It was a pure numbers game.
Absolutely.
They took the risk in thinking that Ridgeway would clear waivers and they could get him back on the practice squad. The Commanders were like, no. They stole him. So the Cowboys were actually upset that they lost Ridgeway.
Yeah.
And he played well last year.
He did play well for Washington last year. He went to D-Line University, okay, out there in Washington, and they're utilizing him. But to your point, that was a numbers game. So the front office tried to address this last year. It's just that at that point in time in his development, they couldn't afford to roll the dice and risk whether he was going to develop or not develop for the guys that they had on the defensive line that were sure things at that point in time. So I think that they're going to try to address it again. But they need to find out where they're at numbers-wise in each position.
It bodes well for the Cowboys that as we have this conversation, now we're on the second day of week 3 of free agency, and Jonathan Hankins is still a free agent, which tells me that there is mutual interest, not only from the Cowboys, but Jonathan Hankins has interest in returning to the Cowboys. And as these days progress, business-wise, the price just becomes more and more flexible, I should say. So that works in the Cowboys' favor, and that's why I think that this deal gets done, knock on wood.
And you got to think about the timing of how those events conspired last year, because you had the first release, rather, or whenever the waiver pickup was there for John Ridgway, that's when you lost Ridgway. Then a couple weeks later is when you traded for Hankins. So there was a void there for a little bit,
Right.
where there was nothing up front, and you could see it on the defensive line. You could see how much that was. So you've seen it all three ways. You've seen it with a young developmental prospect with John Ridgway throughout the early parts of training camp, preseason, early parts of the season. Then you saw him without one of those big hog mileys up front. And then you turned it around, you added Jonathan Hankins. And then you saw it without Jonathan Hankins whenever he was injured last year as well.
No bueno.
Go get you a big guy
Boss
in
hog.
the middle. Go get you one.
Let's do it.
Who the biggest boss?
Hey,
Sorry.
shout out to
Had a
Thug.
flashback.
Oh, I was about to say, hold up.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had a
Wow.
flashback, guys.
Yeah, somebody went full Ross. All right, so to a lesser but also intriguing note in news and notes, we have jersey assignments. Okay, so Chuma Edoga, offensive lineman, recently signed last week, I should say. He has been assigned number 71. Ronald Jones, two-time Super Bowl winning running back, has been assigned number 32. And here's where it gets spicy. So Brandon Cooks, first of all, has been assigned number 3. For those that know, that number belonged to Anthony Brown. Anthony Brown remains a free agent at the moment, still recovering from his injury. This doesn't necessarily mean that Anthony Brown will not be back, but the Cowboys are taking a real cautious approach on that because, again, he is recovering from a recent injury that he suffered, and we'll see how it goes. But put an asterisk next to that and what I'm about to say next because I need to explain the asterisk, the footnote. Stephon Gilmore has been assigned number 21, ladies and gentlemen. Number 21.
I'm sorry. One more time.
Stephon Gilmore has been assigned number 21.
Any Dallas Cowboy being assigned number 21, but okay.
That's a cold world.
So this
It's a cold world.
Yeah.
There are no blankets.
Twofold on this one. On one note, that stings because the body's not cold yet. On another note, it's kind of exciting from the cornerback position because the last most impactful, I mean, you could talk about some guys who had some impact like a Mike Jenkins and Pac-Man on the field in his short time with the Cowboys. But Deion, Coach Prime.
Yes, that's what I was going with.
You're right, Coach. You got a Dallas cornerback wearing 21, and it's not like it's a rookie wearing 21 that needs to prove himself like Mike Jenkins came into the league and got the No. This is a former NFL Defensive Player of the Year. This is a first-team All-Pro. This is a multi-time Pro Bowler who's coming to the Cowboys, and he's now putting on Deion's former number. That just markets itself. So that's the exciting part of it. But the bittersweet part, the bitter part of the sweet is most certainly that number belonged to Ezekiel Elliott for 7 years and now belongs to Stephon Gilmore. So, of course, that leads everyone to question, does that absolutely close the door on Ezekiel Elliott? Well, gosh darn it, that takes me to the next piece of news.
Wow, here's the top rope from the news and notes section that he was talking about.
Jerry Jones said the door is not closed on possibly reuniting with Ezekiel Elliott for the 2023 season.
It's a barn door.
So for those that are keeping track, Ezekiel Elliott, he's garnered interest from several teams, and I know there are reports that the teams that he has interest in, and trust me, there are more teams than's being reported, but I'll keep that off the air. And the teams that were reported as having interest, that was an accurate report. So those teams that are now circling back saying, no, we don't, that they're playing the game. They don't want other teams to know they're in on a particular player. That's how you get the price down as opposed to driving the price up. So that game is going to play out how it plays out. But as long as Ezekiel Elliott remains a free agent, there remains a growing chance, even if it's from small to less than small to less than small. Jerry Jones said the door is not closed until he signs with another team. So I know what you're thinking, because I was thinking it too.
Yeah.
Well, if the Cowboys were to reunite with Ezekiel Elliott, his number's gone. Well, Ezekiel Elliott took to Twitter last week and said that he wants his Ohio State number 15 back. So,
And that's open here.
if it happens,
Will Greer
has it.
Yeah.
If it happens, if the planets align and Ezekiel Elliott is back, and of course that kind of goes in the face of logic with you having signed Ronald Jones and brought Rico Dowdle back, and you'll probably draft a guy. If all logic is defied, post-release, and the Cowboys bring him back and say, you know what, we actually don't need your salary cap money anymore, savings anymore. We'll just eat that, okay, on a smaller deal. Maybe he pays Will Greer to come up off that 1.5.
Yeah, he might.
And there you go. But this is a very intriguing situation going on here. I mean, this is fun. This is fun.
I kind of
Not the release part.
Barn door.
I said this initially. I said there's always a possibility, and even Mike McCarthy kind of alluded to it in his interview yesterday. He said you never want to shut the door, you never want to burn bridges on things like this. Even if Ezekiel Elliott doesn't return for the 2023 season, I don't think it's out of the question that he is done as a Dallas Cowboy.
No,
because he's got some years left. He's got an opportunity to come back at some point. I just think the money has to be right in order for that to happen. We'll see what his money would look like if they were to get to that point.
Here's Jerry's exact quote on the matter. A reworked deal was on the table, and you might say that to some degree that hasn't changed. And it won't until he's signed someplace else. End quote.
So basically saying, we're here if you want to come back.
Basically, we're here if everything, if nothing goes the way you would like, or if you don't like the way the market is shaping up, hey, we still have a seat for you. We'll work out that 1.5, and there you go. Now, obviously, if you're Ezekiel Elliott,
You don't like that.
you have, you really have some decisions to make as far as what's best for the next stage of your career, because logistically speaking, from a player standpoint, what are you walking back into as Ezekiel Elliott? You're walking back into a situation where now it's clearly Pollard's throne.
Yep.
It's no longer your throne. Even if you are to return, it's no longer your throne. It's Pollard's throne, at least for now. And now you have to figure out, well, where do you fall in the hierarchy with the Cowboys adding Ronald Jones? And is your deal going to be equal to Ronald Jones, a little bit lesser, et cetera? So financially, you might not have the leverage to kind of push for those snaps on the field. I don't know. It's a murky situation from the Ezekiel Elliott standpoint, but it's not less murky from a Cowboy standpoint because, again, as the team, if you're looking at it from a GM standpoint, you just brought in a guy. Like, you released this guy, brought in a guy because you released this guy, and this guy that you brought in is less expensive, and now you're going to circle back to that guy, but isn't that going to cause you to release this guy? So competition is wonderful. We want it at all positions except quarterback, because Dak is Dak, right?
And there is competition there, but for the most part, if Zeke were to come back, he would still be the number 2 guy, right?
Yes, he wouldn't be. He would definitely be the number 2 guy, but I don't see Zeke coming back.
I don't either.
I see him leaving.
I think
for a quote unquote Super Bowl
contender,
like
and
a
honestly,
legitimate, proven Super Bowl
and honestly,
contender.
If I'm putting myself in Ezekiel Elliott's shoes, I want to prove something. I want to show everybody, including the Cowboys organization, that you might have given up on me a little bit too soon.
Yeah.
Right? So I really want to go to that situation where I'm guaranteed 1A or 1B. Have a real shot at a ring.
That's the only move.
Give a real shot.
But there's not a long list of teams.
Exactly.
You want my money?
That outside of the team that he was already on, have a better roster.
I can tell you what
it's
my
not about.
money's
It's
at.
not just about the roster. It's not just about the roster.
You're right.
It's about the quarterback.
No doubt.
It's about the quarterback, and it's about the organization.
Sure.
And what they've done over the last handful of years.
Yeah.
If you had to put money on it, where do you think he lands?
KC.
Okay, that's a good.
I was thinking Cincy. I was thinking the Bengals.
That's my money.
Yeah.
But
then I saw them back
guy there.
No. I'm saying reports notwithstanding.
Yeah, the Jersey,
So
Ohio.
you think about it from an analyst and a former player standpoint. As the landscape is right now, you got teams like KC, the Jets. I'm not going to entertain that Eagles nonsense. They got Rashad Penny.
It's KC or Cincinnati. I think he fits better in Cincinnati's offense.
I think New York's in that conversation.
Yeah, the Jets are in that conversation. For me, I think it's Cincy. It just makes too much sense, not only logistically, but it's poetic, right? This is an Ohio State kid, right, who wants to go back to his Ohio State number.
Yep.
And if he gets that in Ohio
with Joe Burrow.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
And Joe Mixon. And you got Jamar Chase stretching the field. You got tight end weapons. They're rebuilding the offensive line.
I totally agree. I 100% believe that Cincinnati is the best situation for him.
That's the best fit.
But I do think that the dark horse is KC.
That's okay. I'm okay with that because they've done that too. They have a track record of doing that.
Yes, they do. And I don't think he's going to get the money he wants anywhere.
Yeah.
Let's lay that on the table.
No doubt.
So if he's not going to get the money he wants anywhere, most people are like, well, just come back home. It's like, well, that's coming home. That's a slap in the face almost, to him. So it's like, if he's going to do it, it's going to be with a team that has literally over the last few years, KC, Cincinnati, had a shot at winning a doggone ring. And that's the only way I see it. I don't see him going to the Jets. It's too much in the air.
Flux.
There's too much flux. There's too much drama. There's a lot going on. He don't even have their quarterback under contract yet. So I see it being one of those two teams, KC or Cincinnati, with Cincinnati being the best situation.
I do think either one, it's a win-win.
Yeah.
You go with Cincy or you go with KC if those are two of your options.
Yeah.
But it's as simple as you sign that 1-year deal with one of those.
Prove
you
it.
potentially get a ring. You prove you still got a ton of tread left on the tires. You're back in free agency a year from now, and now you get to demand a little bit higher salary.
We didn't really get to hit on Zeke a whole lot last week because there were so many different things that happened along the way. When we come back, I want to quickly give our favorite Zeke memory that we had
I like it.
throughout his time as a Cowboy. But we're also going to take your calls, 888-855-2297. We're going to take some fan calls today. Get your thoughts on how the offseason is going so far. What do you think the Cowboys have done right? You could also tell us what you think the Cowboys have done wrong. We'll talk about it next on Talkin Cowboys.
When you build, you start with the foundation. And home ownership is a foundation of a stable future. The Bank of America Community Home Ownership Commitment has helped over 34,000 people lay the groundwork so far, with up to $10,000 towards your down payment or 3% of the purchase price, whichever is less. The satisfaction of owning your own place can become a reality. Visit bankofamerica.com/homeowner to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America N.A. Equal Housing Lender. Credit and collateral is subject to approval. Restrictions apply. This is not a commitment to lend.
Lil Sweet! Did you get to work on time?
Yeah, but I just realized it's Sunday.
Lil Sweet says head on home. Dr. Pepper's on its way. So sweet, unique. Baby, there's nothing better. I bet you've probably done something that deserves a Dr. Pepper. Did you invest your nest egg in an NFT?
Yeah, and I don't even know what that is.
It's a non-fungible token. Everyone's done something that deserves a Dr. Pepper.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure. It's not complicated.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
Are you ready to take coffee off your grocery list forever? Black Rifle Coffee Club is here to help. As a coffee club member, you'll get your favorite coffees roasted, packaged, and shipped to your door free of charge on your preferred schedule. Set it, forget it, and never run low on coffee again. Members also get exclusive deals on coffee, products, and discounts from partner brands. Ease your mind and let Black Rifle worry about your coffee supply. Go to blackriflecoffee.com to join the coffee club today.
And the rejoin's up. Oh, nope, it's not. And go, Cal.
Oh, wait, I grabbed the draft show reads. These are the wrong
Go, Cal.
reads. Hey, I'm back here on Talking Cowboys. I grabbed the wrong reads. That's for the show that I do on Wednesdays and Thursdays. So I'll read both of them at the end of the segment. Well, we're back here on Talking Cowboys. Isaiah Stanback, Patrick Nosey Walker. I'm Kyle Yeomans. All right, favorite Zeke memory. Patrick will let you start, and then Isaiah will give us his.
Oh, there's so many.
I had a news and notes, Kyle.
Oh, do you want to do that right off the
Go
top?
ahead.
I didn't know.
News and notes.
Okay, we'll do it. What's your news and note?
Doggone it.
Come on with it. What's going with it?
News and notes today from Stanbackville.
Oh, God.
This is my 10-year anniversary.
Hey! Air 5.
Air 5. So shout out to my wife, Natalie. She's always listening. 10-year anniversary. Thanks for putting up.
Hey! Congratulations
Thank
to
you.
the both of you. You get a Roxbury head.
Yes.
Yeah. It's been a busy week at the Stanback
I was about to say, the
household.
kiddos turned 9 yesterday.
My daughter, Nadia's
time's
birthday
up.
was last Tuesday. Last time we had the show.
Okay.
She turned 11.
Wow.
My twins turned 9 yesterday, and then our 10-year anniversary is today.
Wow. That time is no coincidence.
And then we have a party for my business. My business 10-year anniversary is this weekend.
Yeah.
It's a lot going
See,
on.
when you said that,
it's a lot going on.
that's what I was thinking because I'm going to the party, so I'll be there.
The wifey and I have been rocking for 10 years.
Wow.
That's huge,
Congratulations.
dude.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
Mega congrats.
Yeah.
Especially in today's world where it's just getting harder and harder seeing relationships last that
Facts.
long. So
Facts.
just fantastic, bro.
My daughter always
And you're
makes
still
jokes.
getting-
My daughter's like, so I'm 11, and you guys been married for 10 years. I'm like, yeah, next topic.
Let's move on.
your daughter's like this math ain't math.
It ain't math.
This math ain't math. And so
Well,
when she
congrats.
gets older, and you
Thanks, man.
start telling her the way, she's like, but
See, you start yours.
Yeah.
When we hitting our 10 year.
Yeah, that's true. May 7th, getting close.
Oh, it's barreling down
I am
the
about
pipe.
to be, bro. I'm shark finning that
on that hole.
shark
like a
finning,
shark's fin.
man.
I'm not going to say this.
Yeah, don't say it on there.
I'm not going to say
Don't say it on there. All right, sorry. Here we go. Back to Zeke.
His favorite Zeke memory. Go.
It's easy to go with any one of the hurdles, and the one in Philadelphia certainly comes to mind because that was just magnificent. Would have been even better if the turf monster didn't get him right after. I'm going with against the Pittsburgh Steelers. The walk-off tutty against the Steelers, right up the A gap, burst of speed into the end zone at Heinz Field, which is what it was named at the time. Ball game. For me, that was magnificent. So a lot to choose from, but I'm going with Zeke versus the Steelers, walk-off tutty.
Okay.
Very nice, Isaiah.
I'm going to go Zeke versus the Buccaneers when he hopped in the Salvation Army bucket.
I like it.
Yeah, that's my favorite. I like that a lot. Nice little Jack in the Box there. That was good stuff.
And you know what made that even better? What makes that better is the fact that when he was fined for it, he matched the NFL's fine.
In your face.
Sent that to charity, to the Salvation Army, and then it created this whirlwind of donations. I think that in like a month's time, the Salvation Army got like over $2 million worth of donations.
Yeah, I think it was like the most that they've had from like an outside
So that's
source.
what makes that even better.
Awesome. In your face, NFL.
In your face.
Yeah, it was really good. I liked against the Detroit Lions when he broke out the Dak touchdown dance.
Oh yeah,
in the back of the end zone against the Lions when he was doing a little hip motion there. I think my favorite one outside of the ones that you mentioned, though, just another one to add, was when he capped off the touchdown drive when Dak got hurt in Week 5 against the Giants in 2020, where he came back down the field and then ran into the end zone, and as soon as he went to the camera, he held up the 4, and it was just kind of – it was very reflective. Like the sun was in the background. You could kind of see the rays coming through.
Poetic.
It was at the moment. Now, the season didn't turn out the way that anybody wanted. Nobody wanted Dak to get hurt like that. But the fact that they capped off the game, they won the game, and they capped it off with a Zeke touchdown where he was able to hold up the 4, that was one of my favorite moments as well.
Consummate team guy.
Yeah, so best of luck to Zeke. We never, like I said, didn't get a chance to talk about it last week. We wanted to at least hit on it this week. All right. We are taking your calls, 888-855-2297. Give us a call. Let's hear about what you feel like has gone right, what has gone wrong for the Cowboys offseason. We're taking those calls now, starting with Bob in the Rio Grande Valley. You're on Talkin Cowboys.
Morning, guys.
Good morning.
I'll tell you what, we kind of hit the ground running here in free agency. I could not be more proud of that Cowboys front office and the job that they've done. I'm like a lot of you and a lot of fans. I'm shocked. This is totally out of character, but it's something that needed to be done. And Patrick, you stole my thunder, buddy.
What a do?
When Zeke jumped in that an Army kettle against Tampa Bay, and let me tell you what, the guy started a groundswell for a great organization in raising money. And I tell you, my fondest memory of Zeke will be him sticking his head up, peeking out of that barrel like a little bitty elf, like a little mischievous kid. That was wonderful.
That's awesome.
Hey, guys, thanks for taking my call. Looking forward to a great year. Y'all have a good day.
Thanks,
Appreciate you, Bob. Thank you so much.
Yeehaw!
Hey.
That's awesome.
Isaiah stole his thunder, but we'll give him credit. That's a good way to put it. He was like a little mischievous kid. That's what it was. He was like, okay, here we are. Yeah, very nice. All right. Continue to give us a call, 888-855-2297. When you're looking at Ronald Jones, we haven't actually hit on him just yet, but what kind of role do you expect him to fill in this current team? Is he a straight RB2, or is he competing with guys like Malik Davis, Rico Dowdle?
He's an RB2. He's a
straightforward.
He's a short yardage guy, and he's a protect Dak's back guy, because I think the front office realizes that Tony Pollard is really good at what he does, but don't ask him to do anything outside of himself. Meaning you're losing arguably the league's best blocking running back by letting Zeke go, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So I think Ronald Jones now fulfills that role in terms of having somebody back there that can actually pass protect out of the backfield. That's not a tight end, as well as a short yardage back who can go up there and take the brutality that it takes sometimes for that short yardage. You don't want to ask TP just because he's capable of getting short yardage. You don't want to ask him to do that every single time. I'd rather bring a big boy back there to go ahead and barrel his head in between the linemen and get those short yardage. And then go to the sideline, give him a slap on the butt, and then bring TP back in. That's the relationship, and I think that's the ask by this front office and the coaching staff of Ronald Jones.
Yeah, I mean, long and short of it, that's the science behind the move. Ronald Jones is going to be looked upon as a less expensive Ezekiel Elliott as far as the role is concerned. He himself, when in the conversation that we had with him on signing day, he said that he brings power and he's a change of pace back, and that's what the Cowboys are going to need. They're going to need that short yardage guy, that bigger body guy to get in there, get that third and short, fourth and short. Because yes, can Tony Pollard get that? Yes, he can. But you would rather not put that kind of brutality on Pollard if you do, in fact, have quote-unquote big plans for Pollard going forward, like Jerry Jones said a couple weeks ago. And also keep in mind, Tony Pollard is coming off of a fractured leg. So I don't believe that that's going to impact his style of play in 2023. But from a medical standpoint, do you want your franchise guy who's coming off of a broken leg to be in that scrum on 4th and 1, 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2? No, you want to get a change of pace guy, and that's what I think Rojo brings to the table. Well, in addition to the fact he's got 2 rings and every team he signs with wins a ring. So there's that good mojo he brings.
And that's, they're adding guys who have rings, which is awesome.
Gilmore, right.
I think that this front office, aside from being aggressive, which is out of character for them, the one thing that I really like that they're doing right now is they're being very strategic about having guys fulfill roles that's what they do. And I think that is very much so coming off of the back of Mr. Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn brings you on this roster, and he says, you know what, Kyle? You rush the passer really well. That's all I need you to do.
And that's what I'll do.
And that's what you'll do, right? I'm not asking you to play 40 snaps. I need you to give me the best 15 snaps you can, and I need you to go balls to the wall on it, right? That's what I'm asking you to do. And they found out that works defensively, right? Guys are not being asked to do things outside of themselves. Just do what you do really well. I'm going to put you in position to be successful. And now you're starting to see that really transition into all aspects of this roster. Guys are now being placed in positions to say, hey, Ronald Jones, short yardage and protect Dak's back. That's what I need you to do. Come in here and can you do that? Absolutely, I can do that. Cool. You're on the paper. Sign you up. And they're going to continue to do that, I believe, through the draft as well. They're going to be looking for guys that can fulfill more roles, of course, but I think they've learned their lesson for trying to get the Swiss Army knife type of guys, and they're going to start saying, hey, guess what? No, see, you block really well? There we go. I'm going to put you in right here. Plug you in between these 2 horses, and just do that. Don't do anything else. Focus on that. We'll fill the rest of the roles with guys that do the same thing.
Got to know your role. Got to know what you're doing.
You shut your mouth and know your role.
Know your damn role and shut your damn mouth.
All right, we're taking our second call. Casey from Texas. Sorry, we didn't get your city. Where are you at, Casey?
Man, I'm currently in Conroe, but I represent Shiner, Texas.
In Conroe.
Home of the Bach all day long.
Okay. Very nice. What's on your mind?
So, man, look, free agency, not really a free agency, but I wish we could get that receiver out of Arizona. I know we can't talk about his name and stuff. So I pay attention to you guys so I know what I can and what I can't.
There you go. Thank you, sir.
But, man, my craziest, fondest moment with Zeke is the Pittsburgh Steelers walk-off.
There we go.
My family, my Coleman family, is majority Pittsburgh Steelers fans.
Oh, that was
and
sweet.
We had a family reunion that day. That game was happening, and that walk-off was lovely.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. That was such a good play all the way across the board.
I could imagine how crazy he and the Cowboys fans went in the midst of Steelers fans. Just the air that got sucked out of that room for those Pittsburgh fans. I know that was sweet, sweet givens.
Sweet. I wish the Cowboys can get back to that moment when we had Kobe, Dez, Brian, Zeke, Dak, when we was making the promo videos every other day, and the boys were just having fun. I feel like the Cowboys hadn't been having much fun since that. We can get back to that and get back to those 12-4 and those 13-5 seasons like we had last year, man. I think our team was good enough to go all the way.
Casey, thank you so much for the call. I completely agree. Bring back the fun. Bring it back.
Well, I will say this. They had a ton of fun last year during those 12 wins. And shouts out to our media team and our production team for the magnificence that is Sounds from the Sideline. Because those Sounds from the Sideline drops, it showed you just how not only intense and competitive it got on the Cowboys sidelines, but just the unbridled fun, the brotherhood of it, the camaraderie. It's good to see that.
But I agree with Casey. Not to say that the 2022 team did not have fun, but that 2016 team felt like that was rebirth.
Yeah, that was different.
That felt like a complete turnaround.
You know why? Because it wasn't supposed to happen.
No, you're right.
It wasn't supposed to happen. Romo goes down, right? And then you get, Dak Prescott comes in, and Dak wasn't even the second quarterback on the depth chart, right? He was behind Jamil Showers. Shouts out to Jamil Showers for those that forgot. Jamil Showers, quarterback, moved to safety, et cetera, et cetera. Basically did everything the Cowboys wanted. But he was behind Jamil Showers and Kellen Moore at that point. Dak Prescott, 4th-round comp pick. Injury to Kellen Moore, he moves up, he gets more reps. All of a sudden, it's his show to start the season. But how much can you expect from a 4th-round comp pick? Okay, but then you get Zeke, a ton of promise around and hype around the 4th overall pick in the draft. You're thinking, well, everything's going to go as Zeke goes, and it kind of did. But Dak Prescott also had a word in that, and all of a sudden now you have a 5-game win streak, 7-game win streak, 9-game win streak, 11-game win streak, and over the course of that, is Romo going to get his job back? So that season hit so differently because it wasn't supposed to be what it was. It wasn't supposed to be as special as it was. And that special air was mixed with the toughness of knowing that it was over for Tony Romo. So there was a lot of emotions in that season. So that's why that year hit so different.
No doubt. No doubt about it. All right, let's take our second break. But before we do, we got to remind you that this is how we country. Let's get Isaiah stand back a little yeehaw in here. There we go. Country Music's Party of the Year is coming to Ford Center at the Star in Frisco on May 11th. The Academy of Country Music Awards are always bringing you country music's brightest stars together under one roof. And no one does country quite like Texas. Witness history in less than just 2 months. Limited tickets remain. Get yours today at SeatGeek.com. All right, when we come back, we've got another news and note. This one could either get you riled up, it could get you angry.
Hold on to your britches.
You better hold on. Buckle up. We've got news and notes one more time when we come back right after this.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure. It's not complicated.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
Black Rifle Coffee Company serves premium coffee to people who love America. When you drink Black Rifle coffee, you are directly supporting veterans, law enforcement, and first responders in your community. Black Rifle's expert roasters love coffee almost as much as Texas loves football, so it makes sense that America's Coffee partnered with America's team. Go online at blackriflecoffee.com and fuel up with the official coffee of the Dallas Cowboys. That's blackriflecoffee.com to fuel up today.
Lil Sweet! Did you get to work on time?
Yeah, but I just realized it's Sunday.
Lil Sweet says head on home. Dr. Pepper's on its way. So sweet, unique. Baby, there's nothing better. I bet you've probably done something that deserves a Dr. Pepper. Did you invest your nest egg in an NFT?
Yeah, and I don't even know what that is. It's a non-fungible token.
Everyone's done something that deserves a Dr. Pepper.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black? Right now, you can get the Jack Black Starter, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The starter includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites, plus a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Go to getjackblack.com/cowboys and use the code word TEAMJB. That's getjackblack.com/cowboys. The Jack Black Starter, $10, free shipping.
Back to Talkin Cowboys.
Register now for 2023 Dallas Cowboys youth camps presented by Invisalign. Athletes ages 6 to 16 are invited to learn from the best this summer at AT&T Stadium or at Ford Center at the Star in Frisco. Football camps are led by former NFL players, and cheer camps are taught by the current Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Save $25 when you sign up for camp on by May 12th. Visit DallasCowboys.com/camps. All right, final segment here of Talkin' Cowboys, presented by Black Rifle Coffee Company, the official coffee of the Dallas Cowboys. Patrick has one more news and notes that he wants to talk about.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, one more tidbit from Jerry Jones out in the league meetings in Phoenix, and this one, let's talk about it. When asked about the status of the state of the offensive line, obviously the Cowboys lost Connor McGovern, starting left guard, to free agency. He's going up to the Buffalo Bills to protect Josh Allen. That increases the number of question marks as far as where the Cowboys are going to land. They're going to get Tyron Smith back on a rework deal, but does that mean Tyron Smith is going to be right tackle? Is he going back to left tackle with Tyler Smith moving into left guard? Terrence Steele is looking to come back from a torn ACL, et cetera, et cetera. Jerry Jones says that that Terrence Steele, all these T's, that Terrence Steele, as we have this conversation in March, and I say that last part for a reason, but he says Terrence Steele is the swing tackle.
No!
Wait. So that's what he said.
Like he dances like the swing dance?
No,
or?
not swinging like that.
And
not swinging at the playground either.
Got that swing.
Yeah, not at the playground with ABC, the bad creation. No. Terrence Steele, as it is viewed through the eyes of Jerry Jones, on March 27th, which was yesterday, Terrence Steele is being viewed as the swing tackle, and that intimates loudly that Tyron Smith is going to be the right tackle to start the season, and Tyler Smith is going to be the left tackle, and that still leaves you open at left guard. Stephen Jones says the Cowboys are obviously open to drafting the offensive lineman at 26. Jerry himself said he wouldn't blink at drafting the 26, which is fine because we all said that.
Yeah.
But what I'm not in on, and again, I know we're talking about this in March.
Say it with
it's
your
a
chest.
new offensive line coach.
Say it with your chest.
I didn't hear this from Mike McCarthy. We're hearing it from Jerry Jones. Okay? So we're hearing it from the owner and GM and not the coaching staff.
Double J.
I'm hoping that the coaching staff pulls Mr. Jones to the side and says, hey, we see what you did there, but nah. Terrence Steele is your definitive starting right tackle in my eyes. I think
as long as he's healthy.
As long as he's healthy. Okay. I think any move, if he's healthy and ready, I'm glad you said that. If he's healthy and ready for week one, no way he needs to be your swing tackle. No way. No way. I get paying homage, which is rightfully due to Tyron. And if you want to pay the homage, give him back his base position for 2023. Drop Tyler in the left guard. Play it how you need to play it. You got the younger guys. Farniok as an interior guy. That's an option. Well, let's go as your outside guy. Maybe he can flex in. Whatever the case may be. Terrence Steele is your starting right tackle.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, go for it, bro.
Let's say that none of those three candidates, Tyler, Tyron, or Terrence, neither of those three, right? None of those three can or is allowed to play left guard. And you have to sit one of them. Which of those three do you sit?
Wait,
you got your left tackle.
Say it one more time.
They can't play left guard.
Yeah, I need to hear
meaning
it
that
one
you
more
can't bump anybody down to the left guard position, right? You got to pick your
But you
twos.
can.
No. Let's assume that they take a left guard at 26.
Okay,
that's my dream.
Okay.
So you have two tackle positions, 3 tackles. Who starts for you? Terrence, Tyler.
Terrence,
Tyron, Tyler.
Terrence and Tyron.
You're sitting Tyler.
You know why?
Why?
Because recent history has shown us that Tyron isn't going to give you 17 full games.
Yeah, you're going to get 11 games out of Tyler Smith as your starting left tackle.
Right. So
it'll
it'll solve itself. So I think that because
so who starts sitting? Who do you start sitting?
In that situation, and just to be clear, ladies and gentlemen, if I'm understanding what Isaiah's asking, he's saying of those 3 names, Terrence, Tyron, and Tyler, if you're assuming that none can play left guard, which isn't true, but for the sake of playing this little game, who would you sit? In that scenario, Tyler sits because I'm going to start Tyron. Number one, he's earned it. That's his spot. But also, going in, as much as you love 77, he's not going to give you the full 17 plus a postseason. So eventually, Maybe sooner than later, hopefully not. But eventually, Tyler's going to end up starting that left tackle anyway. Then you might have an injury somewhere else on the line.
So everything he did for you last year, you sit him on the bench.
What about everything 7-7 did for you before last
I hear you.
year?
That's why.
And
that's why I
then
asked the
last
question.
year as well.
Hey, that's why I asked the question.
Yes, and then last year as well.
I have a different answer.
Okay, let me see what you got.
And I think
Tyler has his whole career to be the starting left tackle.
He does.
His whole career.
I think
Tyron probably has one more season.
Tell
to be
Tyler
your
that,
starting
though.
right tackle.
Yeah, I don't love
Tyler
hindering. We've talked about this before. You don't want to.
Tyler's going to do whatever
don't
they
wanna
ask him to
hinder-
do because he's just a great team guy.
You don't want to hinder the growth of Tyler Smith.
Fair.
Don't push
Just
pause.
because you have loyalty to some guy who has played 7 games over the last 8 years.
It's deeper than just because when that guy is healthy,
He's
still
phenomenal.
one hell of a
I agree.
contributor.
He's
so it's
phenomenal.
It's not a hollow
Bring it
homage.
in there, Beamer.
It's
But
not
here's-
hollow homage.
Bring it in, Beamer.
Here's where I'm going with it. Keep Tyron at left tackle.
Okay.
That's fine. He's your starting left tackle. That's the only thing I have here.
Are you?
Give me Tyler Smith at right tackle. Give me Tyler at right tackle, and then you have the swing option
I'm out
of
on that
Terrence.
one.
Why? He's a tackle.
I'm not
He's
flipping
much
field.
better as a tackle
I'm
than he
not.
was as a guard ever. And you
left tackle
still
or right
put him at
tackle?
guard. I don't care.
not flipping
A
field.
tackle's a tackle.
Don't-
I'll
don't
put him
say-
out
don't
there.
you say that.
It's
Not
100%.
That's
It's
a
easy.
lie.
It's easier for him to go from left tackle to right tackle than it is for him to go from left tackle to left guard. And he did that already.
Listen, if he
Put him at right
if he
tackle.
didn't have the strength,
So you're
and
gonna
the
give him another
hold
new
on.
position.
If he didn't have the
Hell
strength
yeah.
and the base that he has as Tyler Smith, then that statement would be accurate. But because he has the strength and the base that he has, it's actually easier for him to go to left guard than from left tackle to
Didn't
right
look
tackle.
like it. He didn't play very well at left guard. He played okay. And he grew as the season went along because he had time to play there. Now, if he has an entire offseason to play right tackle, you're telling me he can't do that?
Not better than Terrence Steele. Not in 2023. That's the conversation.
See, but that's what I'm
Would
saying.
he be better
Out
than
of the-
Terrence Steele
in
at right
this-
tackle
in-
right now?
In
No.
this hypothetical that we're giving this right now, in this hypothetical here, Terrence Steele is the odd man out because he's not a young developmental player and he's not this high-arcing Tyron Smith who's been here for 10 years. He's somewhere in the middle where he's been a developmental prospect that is really, really good for you right now. He's the odd man out, not because he's not the best out of the three or not because he's not talented enough. It's because you have two different things that you're trying to accomplish, two different agendas that you're trying to accomplish. Loyalty to Tyron Smith and developmental for Tyler Smith.
2023. In
I
this
have
scenario,
an
who's
expert
better?
on the phone if you want me to bring him in.
All right,
Let's-
is
let's-
Nate
let's
Newton
go.
on the phone?
We've got Nate Newton on the
Big
phone.
Nate.
Go, Big Nate.
Big Nate.
Nate, here's the hypothetical. First off, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. How you guys
doing,
doing?
Great,
How you, brother?
great. All right, here's the hypothetical. You don't have the option to move to guard or to center at all. So these 3 players have to play tackle. Who are you starting at left tackle, right tackle, and who is your swing tackle out of Tyron Smith, Tyler Smith, and Terrence Steele?
The older guy would be my swing tackle.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, he would be my swing tackle because I need. If my bet Tyler Smith is my future at left tackle, I got to give him every rep.
Developmental, no doubt.
Yeah.
So who
And if,
is he at left tackle?
Left tackle, and Steele would be my right tackle.
Right tackle.
Steele can only play one position, just in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Now, maybe Mike Solari can work some magic to do offensive line coach, but to me, Steele is a right tackle. I've always tried to tell everybody that he's a right tackle. He's a great run blocker. He's an average pass blocker. He's coming off of a major knee injury. Now, if you're going to start that stuff we started last year, that's a disaster.
Mm-hmm.
So no matter who you start, you got to let those 5 work together. But for the question you asked me at the beginning, the left tackle would be the young kid, the rookie from last year, and the right tackle would be Steele. If he's healthy, he's got to go. And I will let Tyler be the swing because he's not that durable. He's proven over the years he's not that durable. And so now you're going to put him in, he get 3 games or 4 games, and all of a sudden something happens.
Yep.
And all of a sudden you're throwing the other guy in anyway to finish the season. You can't continue. I understand loyalty, but you can't continue to do that. You can't continue to stop other kids' development for a guy that's going to give you maybe 8-9 games at full speed.
Okay, well let me play devil's advocate here because Isaiah agrees with you. By the way, Isaiah agrees with you, Patrick and I are on kind of different playing surfaces at the moment. But when your swing tackle is Tyron Smith, right, and you want him to be your backup, part of the reason why he would get playing time in the first place is because one of the two guys in front of him were injured. So you would not have a healthy Tyler Smith or a healthy Terrence Steele. What happens whenever your swing tackle, who is injury prone in his own right, comes in and he gets hurt? Where do you go from there? That's my one pause.
Let's go.
You're letting him ride.
Well, let's go.
No, I have the perfect answer right now, and I think Isaiah has had the perfect answer from the beginning. You draft or either signed a guy in free agent to be those two guys.
Okay.
You draft. See, the thing here is we're solid everywhere. In my estimation, these guys are solid everywhere. They have, I think, super to good guys at every position except two. And it's the offensive line. They're not solid. I just believe that. No depth, no proven depth. And defensive line, where they're not solid.
Okay.
So if they can just go out and draft someone or sign someone, they signed the young man. I can't pronounce his name, and we'll not chop it up until the season starts.
Lineman.
Chuma.
But you get what I'm saying? You can't keep jeopardizing one piece.
Okay.
To jiggle around other pieces. It's regardless of whether this guy start or whether he's a backup, and I'm talking about Tyron Smith, it is a high risk. The percentages are high that he won't finish the game.
Yeah. Completely agree, Nate. Hey, appreciate you hopping on and giving us some insight.
Thank you, man. And tell that dude with C, Georgia would not see a three-piece. Have a great day.
Listen, you can put it out in the atmosphere all you like, but it ain't gonna come back how you want.
He hung up on you.
It ain't gonna come back how you want. Nah,
he
still
didn't want to hear it.
He hung up, but he still
didn't even want to hear it.
Listen, he can't hear Jimmy. Okay, he can't hear Jimmy. He can't hear Jimmy.
Yes. White man can't jump reference for those that don't know.
Here's my thing about the back end of what he said.
Okay.
If we're talking about drafting a tackle here, right?
Nope.
You're not.
I'm not.
You're not. Are you?
Nate might have
are
been.
you
No,
okay?
I want a left
interior
guard.
lineman.
I want a left guard.
If you're giving me a guard, I'm not having this conversation. This makes complete sense.
Yeah, I'm taking an interior lineman. I'm not taking a tackle at 26.
I thought what Nate was trying to do was draft another tackle. Was draft somebody else that was at tackle. If he's talking about guard, then I'm okay. Yeah. Then that doesn't bother me. If we're talking about drafting another tackle, which is possible at 26, because there are some good ones at 26. Why do we even keep 77 around? Ooh. That's my question. I mean, I know there's loyalty. I know he's still really good, but with the injury concerns and the durability.
Yeah. So my dream is that you draft a dog at left guard.
That'd be awesome.
And then you start Tyler on the left. You start Terrence Steele on the right.
Okay.
And
I'm cool with that too.
And then you have Tyron, who you could bring in a heavy set, right? That could be something that is one of your more common running sets where you add additional offensive linemen, right? That eliminates the need for a fullback a lot of times. So you have the goal line sets. You have all those times where you can still fit him in and keep his legs warm and all that jazz. And you can be dominant. You have a dominant running game in that portion, right? And then you have Waletzko, who's your backup. So you have Waletzko and you have Tyron Smith, who could be your backups. And I'm not calling Tyron a backup, but that's the role that I'm saying that he will fulfill. That's a discussion we're having, right? We know what he is, okay? But in terms of looking towards the future, right, you have to address those things by seeing, hey, this Terrence Steele still Terrence Steele, and we're not going to hinder Tyler Smith's development. And last year we asked him to do above and beyond, and he did it. We're not doing that to him again.
But here's another dynamic, and I spoke about this as far as last week and the week prior. For those that came into the offseason asking, well, why is everyone hovering over the panic button as it relates to the Cowboys' offensive line? And we laid it out. Obviously, Connor McGovern potentially leaving. He ended up leaving. You got some depth issues, guys coming off injuries. Well, let's go, for example. But I drew a red circle around Terrence Steele, not only because he's coming back off of injury, but because he's not locked up for the long term. So as you're sitting here trying to have these kinds of long-term negotiations with Terrence Steele, put yourself in Steele's shoes. And if Steele believes that he's now being relegated to the role of swing tackle after having developed and proven himself as a definitive starter in the league, then it it makes him want to put one foot out the door more so than maybe it already is.
Yeah,
so
facts.
you don't know that Terrence Steele is going to be here in 24, let alone in 23.
Correct.
So
I agree.
That's another angle of the conversation altogether, because we keep talking about
could
what
and
Cowboys
I don't
need to
think
do, but-
tackle's really a big, like, I know a lot of people are talking about it because of the injuries and the health, but honestly, tackle is probably, that's where you have the most depth on the offensive line right now.
Right now, absolutely.
Right now, I mean, I don't know the name of the gentleman they just
you
signed.
have nothing at guard,
Right?
and you have
Avion Collins.
nothing behind Tyler Biadasz.
That's a good
So you got
one.
Collins.
Avion
Avion Collins is a
good
dog,
one. He's
right?
coming up.
So you got him. You have Terrence Steele. You have Tyron. You got Tyler. You got let's go.
All right, stop.
I'm not gonna.
I was going to say, don't say that.
I'm not
next
going to
name.
say that.
say the
I
next
wasn't going to say the next
Yeah.
name. Right, but
I was waiting for you. I was like,
so do you have depth at tackle? It's the interior guys that you don't have depth.
Yeah.
You have to our knowledge, no proven backup center.
No,
You
have no interior.
Farniok can
But he's
You're
not
hoping.
proven.
That's a hope.
No, I said I was
yeah,
saying
that's
you're
a hope.
hoping. That's
So I'm
what I said.
saying,
You're
like,
hoping
as I'm
Farniok can.
trying to help the fans understand, interior offensive lineman, left guard, and also who's going to play behind Martin? He ain't the youngest spring chicken around here either.
No.
You might want to start planning for that future.
No, I agree. I completely agree. I've been here for 3 years. I've been here for 3 years trying to say that this offensive line isn't what it always has been.
Okay.
And
next year.
You understand what I'm saying?
Next year.
Yeah.
Next year has to be like, you have to start planning for right guard effective next year.
He's not going to be. He's not going to be a guy that rides this thing out until he can't move.
That's what I'm saying.
He's going to ride off in the sunset. He's that guy. He's that guy where he's like, my time's done, and he just walks off.
So you know what this might be? This might be a situation where between last year, this year, next year, maybe even the year after in 25, this might be a similar sequence to the Tyron and Frederick and Martin draft in that rapid fire. That's how you build the offensive line, and the Cowboys show they can do it. So this might be. You got Tyler, maybe you double back and you get somebody at 26, your left guard. And then in 25, you get your developmental right guard because
and on the
Zach's
coaching
not
staff,
gonna
you
be
hired a
forever.
new what?
Offensive line coach. So, yeah.
So with the 26th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Dallas Cowboys select Osiris Torrance out of Florida because that's it. That's the only guy that's going to be there that is worth 26.
I hope.
Hope is a strategy. Sometimes.
Welcome, sir.
Sometimes.
Welcome to my
Do you think
side.
Avila? Maybe Avila's there.
Avila's there, but I would feel much better with Torrance there. I mean, they're my number 1 and 2. By the way, I submitted my draft magazine bios.
Hey.
I wrote 30,000 words for that magazine.
Woo. That's my guy.
And they're number 1 and number 2, Torrance and Avila, in terms of interior offensive linemen, including center, because John Michael Schmitz is number 3.
Same for me. And I could go either way. I'm like 1A, 1B on
Tweet the three of us your top 3 positional wants for that number 26.
Do it, ladies
Get
and
it done.
gentlemen. Do it.
Get it done.
We want
At
to see it.
I am Standback at Voice of the Star at Kyle_Yeomans. Let us know, what are your top 3 positional needs for the Dallas Cowboys? All right, that does it for us. We'll be back next Tuesday. We'll be back at 10 a.m. Central Time to break it all down for you. We're less than a month away from the NFL Draft, so this is not the only draft talk we're going to have on this show. We're going to have a little bit.
Because we have the experts.
A little bit, you know. Chris Beam is pretty good at what he does.
Maybe we get someone else from the draft show to.
We could make that happen. Yeah.
For one of the upcoming
We'll make it
shows.
happen.
Yeah.
We'll make it happen. Should be a whole lot of fun. For Chris Beam, Isaiah Standback, Patrick Nosey Walker, I'm Kyle Yeoman saying so long. Thanks for joining us on Talkin Cowboys. We'll see you next week.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!